Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And I found this article, it's a couple of weeks old, but it's about D&D 2024 and the Wizards of the Coast vice president of, what is she vice president of exactly? She is vice president of franchise and product sales for Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. And she talks through some numbers. Now, believe it or not, I'm a little bit of a numbers guy because I did statistics, comparative statistics, CompStat for the NYPD. I know it's over 20 years ago for the most part, but I know that numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the full story, and you can present them to paint different pictures, and you can mix your apples with your oranges if it makes a better juice. I know. And it's also what you don't tell that is telling, right? What you omit. So, this article is from Tech Raptor. Now, Tech Raptor is computer games mostly and video games. All right. So, um, last week we got to hear from Jeremy Crawford and Wes Schneider, co-leads of the 2024 Monster Manual, about what we can expect of the third part of the 2024 core rulebooks when they release a little over a month. So they're not fully out, but they've hit some reviewers, and there's some articles on and World about what the contents are of the new Monster Manual. We're not going to go into that. Before that, though, Jess Lanslow, Vice President of Franchise and Product for Dungeons and Dragons, she's been there since I don't know for about a year. Walked us through 2024 as a year for Dungeons and Dragons, including some interesting comparisons to the 2014 5th edition release. All right. D&D and D&D Beyond in 2024. Lanzillo began by discussing the ways Wizards of the Coast has been tracking the sales for the 2024 rulebook so far. Whoa. The way. Well, are there different ways to track sales? I'm sure there are. But they don't discuss the way they're tracking sales. Right, let's go. The Player's Handbook in September 2024 and the Dungeon Master's Guide in November of 2024 are the ones that are released so far. In the past 4 months, these two books have already sold as many copies as it took the 2014 edition 3 years to meet, including all language versions. This is a very imprecise paragraph. Are they saying those two books sold as more as the three core books? That's what apparently it's saying. Okay. Which is interesting, but as been pointed out elsewhere, are they including the digital copies? Remember, if you order through WotC, you got your D&D Beyond copy. Are they counting that? Are they counting all the copies on the various VTTs? It sounds like it, but we can't be sure. Again, they're quite likely mixing diff- different variables here to give you a very imprecise picture. And it's also comparing 2014, which was purely a physical release, with 2024, which is physical, digital and D&D Beyond, Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, right? Okay. Now I find this interesting is that they got the Lady of Pain when they're looking at the Dungeon Master's Guide over here. That's what they focus on. But that's representative of what? Sigil. Sigil is Planescape, but it's also the code name for the as yet no release date for the VTT, the 3D VTT. Okay. This is an impressive amount of growth, but not an incredibly surprising number considering the monumental boom that Dungeons and Dragons has had in popularity over the last 10 years, including popularity of actual plays, the increase in play seen over the pandemic and past that, and even the releases of movie and popular video games like Baldur's Gate 3. Well, the pandemic uh, bloom push is long gone. Okay, now how do we know it's long gone? Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds are no longer releasing usage numbers because all it's going to see is a plummet in usage numbers. That's why you don't see it. So, Lanzillo expressed that now that the final core book is almost released, they're looking forward to finally beginning. We're going to have this really nice base of what's going to be setting up D&D for the future. It's going to be a springboard for all the exciting stuff that we're going to do in the future. We're going to be doing in the future. All right. After discussing that Wizards of the Coast was happy, they're happy. With the engagement in the new core books, Lanzillo discussed some of the other milestones that they were seeing across the other D&D related platforms. Now, by the way, this, I believe, what we're seeing on the screen is the VTT Lite that's built into D&D Beyond maps or something like that. Now, this is it. Now, what's coming up here is a flex. There isn't much of a flex. For D&D Beyond, she was able to reveal that over 3.6 million characters have been made on D&D Beyond with the 2024 rule set. Oh my god, the editing here is horrible. There are over 19 million registered users on D&D Beyond, and that 1.3 million maps have been used in the D&D Beyond VTT. Okay. So that means that roughly 1 in 5 registered users have created characters on D&D Beyond for 2024. D&D. Now, let's parse this a couple of ways. That's, again, 1 in 5, 20% have created characters. It's assuming that those 3.6 million characters, everybody just created one character. I know when I used to try to learn a new rule set, I would roll up multiple characters to see how all that shit worked and how it all interacted. Well, maybe we'll say everybody did 2 characters. That means 1 in 10 people on the VTT, on their D&D Beyond with their little VTT. Great. Now, they don't tell you the 1.3 million maps were that created for 2024. Doesn't quite say that. Because remember, 19 million registered users on D&D Beyond is the total number of users, not total number of users using 2024. Again, they're not being very clear. And they're not being very clear because they want you, in my opinion, to make inferences. So, and even if it was 1.3 million maps on the D&D VTT is selling a VTT that they're not trying to push. And again, it only means that, less than 1 in 10 users are making maps. Again, it's assuming everybody only made one map. So this isn't the flex they think it is. Now, 19 million users on D&D Beyond. These aren't all paid. There's a lot of ghost accounts or dead accounts. I log in like once a year, if that. I can only play 5e. But there are people that will have accounts that aren't really using it. Let's move on. Lanzillo bookmarked all of the statements about D&D and D&D Beyond by mentioning that all of these milestones also don't include all those who are playing the game completely physically. Now, by the way, she's giving you definite numbers about D&D Beyond. You know they have definite numbers for how many books have been sold. They're not giving you those numbers. Why is that? Likely because they're mixing apples and oranges. They're not just including physical books, they're including digital versions over multiple platforms. Therefore, the numbers. Remember, when people discuss numbers, it isn't just what they are talking about, it's what they aren't talking about. Talking about Dungeons and Dragons outside of the tabletop experience, Lanzillo brought up the continued success of Baldur's Gate 3, which continues to be in the top 10 most played games on Steam and regularly breaks 100,000 concurrent players. There was also mention of continued support from Larian into 2025 with new subclass options. Oh, that's interesting. By the way, I still don't own it. I will probably buy it later on this year. I didn't want to be part of the hype. And, you know, Joe the Lawyer's game wraps up in about a month or so. This 2E game. I might have some free time in between my next campaign. Finally, to wrap up the discussion on the D&D brand, Lanzo was able to reveal that in 2024, around 85 million fans have engaged in D&D across movies, video games, merchandise purchases, or just by playing the game. By the way, that number is bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why it's bullshit. Is because if you, because this is the way they're telling you, okay, because they're pushing all these numbers together, which means that they know these individual numbers, but they aren't going to discuss the individual numbers across movies. So if you went to the movie, you're being counted. If you play Baldur's Gate or any of the video games, you're being counted. Oh wait, now you were too. You bought a merchandise. Oh, I ordered the Legos, right? And I did. They're behind me. Let me see if I can. Oh, if I can get away out of the picture here. Uh, you can see a Lego head right down there. So I bought the Legos. So now I'm counted as engaging. I'm a fan of D&D, so but if I had the video game, I went to the movie. Oh wait, hold on a second. I went to the movie, so I'm at least at 2. Or just playing the game. Did I play any 5e last year? No. But I count. I don't even play 5e, and I count as 2 fans. So if you are a true fan of D&D, the way this is probably being counted, you are 4 fans. Numbers don't lie, but how they are presented are often misleading. Keep that in mind, folks. So, tell me what you think. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. What do you think is happening with 2024? Is it a success? I mean, honestly, how many people can be playing the game if it isn't fully released? I don't know. Is it the best-selling RPG D&D release ever? Let me know. Folks, live stream tonight at 8 p.m. Skeeter Green, Zach Glazer, Frog God Games. It should be a blast. Skeeter's a whack, and I love him. Zach and Skeeter together. Oh my God. Insanity will ensue. But you expect that from us. All right. Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. I'll include a link to this article in the notes. I'll catch you all tonight. Be good.